Hi everyone, it's Megan from Bookish Lights. And it feels good to be filming again and getting back on track, though I did forget that I actually had to film a video for this week. So hopefully this gets up on time. We will see. If it's Friday, I got it up on time. If it's Saturday, I was a day late. So this is going to be my recent reads, which it's gonna be part one because this spans over like 4 months. I think my last recent reads or my last wrap up was in February, so part one will be for March and April. I have my Goodreads open here so I can see what books I have read. I am just going to speed through it because there are quite a few books. Even though I took a break from filming, I still read quite a few books. A lot of these I cannot remember what they are about. That's the thing with me. I read so many books, even though like I love books when I read them and I have a booktube, so I talk about them. I don't always remember every little detail in books, and a lot of times if you ask me about what was in a book that I read a couple months ago or like sometime last year or even last month, I will not remember it. But once I get back into, if I reread it or I get back into reading like the reviews of them, then I will remember. But I'm just gonna wing it and hope for the best for this video. So let's just jump right into it. So starting off, I read P.S. I Love You by Cecilia Ahern. I'm not quite sure how you pronounce her name. That is the first book. The second one is Postscripts, and I read that one also. I gave those both 5 stars. I really love those books. I just love her writing in general, and I listened to the audio of those. I believe this was the second time I read P.S. I Love You. I'm pretty sure I read that one time before in earlier 2019, maybe 2018, and I reread it again before going into Postscripts just to refresh my memory on the book itself. Next we have The Accent Season by Maura Foley Doyle. That I gave 4 stars, and I quite enjoyed that book. The next one I gave 3.5 stars, and that is The Girl in the Green Raincoat by Laura Lippman. I think this was a mystery thriller book. This is also like number 11 in a series, but I'm pretty sure you can read them like on their own because I haven't read anything else in this series before and I wasn't lost or anything, so I'm pretty sure it's one of those where like it's in a series but you can read it by itself if you want to. The next book I read was Verity by Colleen Hoover, and I gave this 5 stars. I really enjoyed this. I listened to this on audio and I was not prepared for anything in this book. Like, one minute you think this person is batshit crazy, and then the next you think this other person is going batshit crazy, and it's just full of twists. You don't expect it coming, and it's pretty wild. The next book I gave 3 stars, and that was The Witch of Purple Coastline by Leona Bushman. I think this was just one of those books that was like a little short little read on Scribe that I was just trying to fill up some time because I didn't know what else I wanted to read after Verity. Like, I just needed something to, like, a change of scenery type thing. Cannot remember anything about this book, but apparently I thought it was an alright read if I gave it 3 stars. Moving on, I have Take Me Higher by Delia Rose, and I gave that 2 stars. Again, not sure what this book is about. I think it is an adult romance, maybe even erotica. Not quite sure. Judging by the cover, there is some sort of X-rated scenes in this book. I think this is another one of those like short little scribed books, or short little books that you can find on Scribed, just to as like a placeholder. Is usually what I will read these types of books when I'm in between like fantasy novels or contemporaries, or just in between novels and I'm not sure what I want to read. I'll just go on Scribed and pick like 100-page romance book or something just to fill in the space until I figure out what the next novel I want to read. And then moving on, we have a 1-star book, and that is Awakening to Kali, the Goddess of Radical Transformation. This may have been like a sort of self-help slash fantasy read. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, it's like a spiritual goddess book. The next book is Fallen Angel by Jess Michaels, and I gave that a 2-star. I cannot remember anything about this book, though I do believe it is a bit of a romance, an adult romance. And then moving on, we have All Is Calm by Colleen Coble. That I gave that a 2 stars. This, I think, is another mystery thriller book. I believe I read that as an ebook on Scribed. A lot of these I read on Scribed. I love that subscription service. It's really great. There's tons of ebooks and audiobooks, and they have like documents and music sheets and other awesome stuff. The next one is The Missing Skull by John Wilson. This is like a little novella, and I gave it a 3 stars. This is basically a grandfather and grandson take a little trip for themselves just to spend some quality time with each other, and the grandfather has this like crazy scheme where there's like a really big backstory about the cabin that they're staying on the island, and he comes up with this little kind of like a treasure hunt for the grandson to try and figure out what happened to this person that used to be in that area, that used to live in that area type thing. And it goes a little south, not how it was planned, but it still works out in the end, and I quite enjoyed it. It is part of a series, not one that I'm going to continue, but I did really enjoy that read. It wasn't all that long, it was pretty short. And then I think that was the end of March books, and going into April, I read a couple books, not too many, not as many as March were. My foot is going to sleep, so if you see me moving around or hearing me shuffle around, it's because I'm trying to get my foot to wake up again. So starting off for April, I listened to Hot Pterodactyl Boyfriend by Alan Kuman, and I didn't put any rating apparently, but I wouldn't rate it very high. This book, it is all sorts of crazy, and there's no way to describe it. I can't formulate any coherent thoughts for this book. It's not good, it's wild. Read it at your own risk. Moving on, we have a 5-star read, which is Fiercely Happy by Jenny Lawson. I love this book. I was actually just thinking about this book a couple days ago, and I couldn't quite remember what the book was. I was just remembering like different snippets of the book, but now that I'm reading the title, that it was this one. I quite enjoyed this book. So the last book for this part I'm gonna go with is Dreamfall by Amy Plum. I've talked about this book a little bit in a couple of my videos, and I've talked about it in not my last video, but my life update video. It's basically a set of 6 or 7 adolescent youth are put into this experimental trial to help with their insomnia. They have insomnia by different things like night terrors, nightmares, like someone has PTSD, and there's just different things that make them have insomnia, and they have to go through this trial to help them get rid of their insomnia. And it kind of just goes very wrong, and now they are stuck in this dream world where they have to try and figure out how to wake up again. And yeah, I believe it's only 2 books in that series. I think it's just a duology. I could be wrong, but I do have the second book on my shelf, so I can't wait to pick that one up. And that just continues on with them trying to wake themselves up, and they are learning more about each of the other people because they have never met before in their lives, besides right now in this trial. And so they're just trying to figure it out with the help of one another and just trying to survive, basically. So that is the last book for this part. I'm not sure when part 2 will be up. Maybe by the end of this month. I will include May, June, and July together. I don't think I actually read anything in May. I did, it was probably only like 1 book, or I didn't finish my book in May. I can't quite remember, but I'll do the next part at the end of this month actually. And I hope you guys like this video. Thanks for watching. I can't even remember my outro. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that little bell icon to receive any notifications for when I upload a new video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.